Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the Macro Lounge podcast. I am your co-host, Chris Bold, joined by the stunning in monochromes today, as well as sparkles, Rachel Mead. Yes. How are we this afternoon, morning?
Well, yeah, I am reflecting the weather apparently because it's a little bit rainy and miserable here. So hence we are wearing black.
That's why I got grey on because it's like raining and stuff here too. Yeah. Oh, well, it is winter. What do we expect, really? I mean, it could be worse. We could be in doing posing practice in the freezing cold.
Yes, I do. Whenever I talk to a South Island person for posing or consults and I mention that it's cold and then they mention that they're from the South Island, I then rescind my comment and say, I'm sorry, I have no right to complain.
Yeah. I get do I have to do my check-in photos today? It's 2 degrees. You're like, that's a good point. You're like, and I don't go, and then I go, yeah, you actually still have to do your check-in photos. I'm sorry.
Preheat the room.
Exactly. That's what heat pumps are for, right?
Exactly.
That's what. So we've got we've already had orders for our Viva Don't Be a Dick Revolution t-shirt. So I'll have to break that news quietly to Valerie later so that she's prepared for that. But I think it's a brilliant idea of fundraising for the podcast. We're just going to sell t-shirts. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be good. And then people can wear them and just like, people might ask where they got them from. They're like, hey, listen to this really cool podcast. These guys are pretty cool.
Yeah, we should take them with us to the Palmerston North show with ICN. We should just like set up a little booth there right next to the check-in and say, would you like to buy? I mean, they're selling ICN t-shirts. I mean, it seems only reasonable.
Yeah, I think that seems fair. We might have to have a chat to Brenda.
Okay, I'll leave that one in your paper.
Yeah, but we need to get the t-shirts done in time. I don't know if that'll happen.
My wife can do anything. Send cat pictures now, everybody. Send cat pictures. If you want a t-shirt, send a cat picture. Yeah. If you want a t-shirt, send a cat picture along with your order. It'll probably put you to the top of the list.
Yes, that actually also does contribute towards the podcast. If you do send cat photos to the podcast or to Val, it does. It's basically payment.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's pretty much how it seems to work in the team chat as well. It's like you can tell when there's a picture of a cat. I'm like, what have you done? Why are you kissing up to my wife first? I'm like, this is a dodgy sounding thing.
Because she's in charge. I think on your Team Bold t-shirts, you do need to have like the boss and the real boss on the back of it.
That's true. Mine should just say, I do as I'm told.
Yeah, not wrong.
Or I fear for my life, send help.
Send cat photos.
Yeah, send cat photos now. You must listen to these things and go, I'm just going to smack the crap out of those two. They're just causing me too much trouble. But yeah, we keep her on her toes. So,
yeah, we do.
What else has been going on this week? We had the Team New Zealand from ICN over at the World Physique Games in Bali. It was actually a really big team, and it was like I love those team things, when and I don't give a flying what federation it is, but I like when you have those team things like where it's it's an event. It's less based around winning a pro card. It's more that experience thing, and there's that ability to go and compete against people that you've never seen before or never come up against. But I just think that team spirit, that camaraderie of getting everybody together and traveling to these shows. I mean, we used to do it back in the day. We would take teams to the Arnolds. I remember going with a team to Australia. They used to do matching hoodies and sweatpants and all sorts of stuff. And nowadays it's like, it's all about the pro card. So it was really good to see. I'm not sure of the exact count. I'm sure we'll give a number and we'll be told quite quickly that we got that wrong. But it looked like in the team photo that there was at least 20 of them over there from a couple of different coaches. I know Henry was there. I know Darren was there. But it looked like there were competitors in just about every class right across the board. And from all accounts, they did really, really well. There were some people taking out overalls. I know Sean did really well in the classic and bodybuilding. Den did really well in the pro show as well. So they take our hats off to him. And then I know Ree and was it Zoe were doing the figure, which was really good. They did really well in the pro status. So yeah, all across the board, I think everybody did really, really well. So, and the feedback that I've seen from the show has been really, really positive. So, and I know that they announced that they're actually going to do it every year at the same time in Bali. So start planning that trip now.
And then you get to have a holiday in Bali afterwards. Also, you didn't mention, we also had Linka, who took out the overall in the amateur swimsuit and got her pro qualified card to compete in the pro show later on.
I did, and some very snazzy posing she had going on there as well. But we don't want to blow somebody's horn about that.
Yeah, we did a few last minute posing adjustments before the show. But no, she did really well. Really proud of her. And then she also got, I think, second and third in her bikini classes as well, which was quite cool.
Yeah, and I know they had a pay-per-view live stream, but we're just poor.
And also our dollar
bodybuilding
sucks.
coaches.
Our dollar sucks. So it worked out to be what, $50?
Yeah, so we relied on Brendan to sit there with a camera for the whole thing. So we're cheap. We freely admit it. Sorry, which is interesting because that's kind of the topic of today's podcast. Not us being cheap, but going down that way. But
helping
it was
you be
interesting watching. Yeah, it was again. I think it was interesting seeing the variations in posing. There was some really good posing. There was some absolute howlers. So hopefully they get their feedback and that sort of part of that as well. So, but yeah, well done to them. And also, of course, can't forget Ash and Lou Mullen over at the Pronto. Pronto?
Pronto?
What the hell am I talking about? Pronto. All right. Toronto Pro show, which is an awesome show. If you ever do get the chance to actually travel to a pro show, that is one that is actually worth going to see. They do an awesome job over there. And they did. So they were both competing in that in Fit Model and Men's Physique. And I think that's the end of their tour. They're heading back to New Zealand. And then I guess reevaluating what they're going to do from there. But well done to both of them for stepping on the international stage. So it was pretty busy around the world of bodybuilding. I know some of the IFBB guys from New Zealand were over in Thailand for the Phuket show. And they've got another one this weekend in Pattaya. I always say that wrong. So I don't think there's any New Zealand athletes competing, but I know that the guys are over there as well. So it was a very busy week.
Yeah, and then I know that we've got a lot of other New Zealand athletes competing in the coming months overseas in their pro shows as well. I think a lot of them are coming up like 6-ish weeks out, 6-7 weeks out.
Yeah,
so things are going to get really busy because that's also when kind of the New Zealand season kicks off as well. Because we've got the ICN North Island show coming up in...
That's next, yeah. How far?
It'll be 5 weeks, I think, by the time this comes out.
That's true. So yeah, the season's starting to kick off, and properly. I mean, Australia's getting ready to go into season B already, which is awesome. That's their natural season, so that'll be cool to see how that goes. But yeah, busy time. But hats off to everybody who went to the ICN World Physique Games. We won't do a full wrap up on that. We'll leave that
because we didn't watch the official live stream.
Yeah, we didn't watch the official live stream, but we did catch highlights, so we were participating and cheering everybody on.
Yes.
So, well done to everybody there, everyone. So, speaking of being, we'll go with cost-effective / frugal. Today, we're going to be talking about where does the bikini bodybuilding industry actually make its money? This is Rachel's choice of topics today. So,
way to put me in it, but I think it's a good topic. Because it's like, there's a lot of things in the industry that I guess coaches and everyone like in the higher ups will tell athletes to do, but they also make money off it. Yeah. So I think it's good to have some transparency through that because there's a lot of things that get promoted to athletes that actually don't do that much to help you versus the things that actually work. So yeah, there's a lot of extras in there that people end up getting told to like buy, spend money on that you don't really need, but you get told you need it. Because it looks good.
And I think that's where, ethically speaking, there needs to be better transparency. Like if, for example, if the federation is receiving compensation or getting a commission from something, the very least that they can do is they can actually state that. Like I don't know if it's still a case on social media, but did you just have to say that this is a paid endorsement for XYZ product? I think that needs to be something that if a coach is saying use product ABC, then they should be saying, I do receive a commission for selling this product, as opposed to what you were just saying earlier, Rachel, about like one of the coaches you'd worked with previously. You had a supplement stack of substantial amount of various different bits and pieces, which to this day, she's probably not exactly 100% sure on what she was taking. But I'm reasonably confident that the person who's selling you all of that and probably shipping it to you as well was probably making a cut on. So I think that's a really important thing to be transparent about, is like if you are making a commission off it, then you should be open and transparent about that. Now, I've said that myself, that I've in the past been offered affiliate codes and discount codes and all that sort of carry on to recommend products to not just my athletes, but people in general. And that's something that I just won't do. There's products and companies that I support, and I will freely say, I like this company for X, Y, and Z reason, and I recommend that you use this particular product for A, B, and C reason. But I don't have a discount code with anybody for that exact reason. It's like, you want to go and buy it from somebody else, buy it from you.
Yeah, I mean, some coaches will have discount codes that just give the athlete a discount and they don't get anything back off it. Occasionally that does happen too, but I think it is very important to know that if someone does have a discount code, a lot of the time they are getting something back out of it. There is usually a partnership there. Sometimes it's not, or sometimes it's very minimal, but there are obviously a lot of cases that they are going to be more motivated to get you to use that code if they are getting things back out of it. So like, for example, with the supplements, a lot of athletes will have affiliate codes with supplement companies, and usually they will get some kind of commission or store credit from that. So if they are recommending specific products to you from a specific store and they are telling you to use said code, for me, that's usually a sign to like ask a little bit more about it, and think, okay, well, is this actually needed? Because again, my supplement stack at one point was 7 supplements long, and I was taking about 14 tablets a day. It was ridiculous.
I've seen worse, but that's when you start rattling because of the supplements you're on, you probably need to sort of start.
I literally had like one of those elderly person trays to separate them all, like to be like, take this at this time, this at this time. It was insane. Like, I mean, most of it was pretty basic stuff, but it's also you're spending a lot of money on some of that stuff, and some of it, it can work, but it also doesn't make a huge difference. So, for example, like I was on like the fish oil and the primrose oil, for example. Yeah, sure, they might help a little bit, but when you're spending like an extra $50 a month on each, sometimes it adds up very quickly. So some of those things, if it's not making that much difference, or even like BCAs, unless you're having EEAs, it's not really doing a lot.
No. Very good.
But yeah, BCAs, for example, that was another one that was in that particular stack too. BCAs.
Yeah. I just look at that as being cordial because it makes water taste good.
It's just flavored water. It helps you hydrate basically during your workout.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, we said before, bikini bodybuilding, it is an industry. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's an economic product. It's its own economy, right? And there's nothing inherently wrong with a business making money. I think the problem is when you can't distinguish between what is a revenue generating activity and what is a result generating activity. But the business of talking about bikini bodybuilding, there's multiple revenue streams. And we've said time and time again, this is an expensive sport, right? This is not a cheap sport. There are multiple ways that revenue that you can end up paying out. When if you don't track it out, we've done budget sheets and all sorts of stuff for people. But I mean, you've got obviously supplements is one side. You've got, if you just want to look at the coaching side of it, like just the actual performance side, you've got your coaching, you've got your posing coaching, you've got, what else can you have? You can have mobility coaching. There's a lot of different nutrition. Some people have nutrition coaching. They have personal training, and then you've also got the other side where it is less around the actual service side and more around a product or a transaction side when you're dealing with activewear, bikinis. What else is there? Lots of them.
Yeah, no, I think one of the big ones though is the coaching side, because it is so saturated, and that's generally where people will start to I guess be a bit more subtle on how they sell you on things. So you'll get a lot of coaches who say like they've got this secret glute program, or they've got this brand new exercise, or this is my secret variation, or this is my exercise that my athletes do, and that's why they have amazing glutes, which is something we see all the time. And that is also a sales tactic. According to the science, most of those things don't actually make the biggest effect. Like, it's not what's the word in the research? It's not a substantial difference. Quantifiable. That's the one. So maybe it might make 1%, but it's not what's the amount that they're saying to get you to sign on.
And frequently in this field of online coaching, like we've said previously, it sounds weird. I don't identify as an online coach. I look at it as a remote coach. But a lot of the online space, they've all bought the same freaking playbook. You know what I mean? It's like, they've done the same online marketing course where somebody has told them that you need to have these multiple tiers of products that you can upsell people into. So, you start with your big ticket item, and it's got to be at least $4,500 US dollars per year, and blah blah blah. And then have your fallback options, and then that's kind of how they get you. Oh, okay, well, you're not really serious. And they had the same sales technique. It's like, did they all buy the same freaking book? I don't know. Okay, well, we can't afford to do that. Well, what we can do is we can put you on our special bikini booty program for $19.95 a month, and we'll send you every 6 weeks. We'll send you the new PDF with a blah blah blah.
And you must have updates in your programs every 6 weeks, otherwise you will not be able to shock the system into growing. So
Yeah,
that's actually something that they taught us when I was PTing at a certain gym. Probably shouldn't name them because I might get in trouble. But they taught us to get people to do exercises that they could not do by themselves. So things like eccentric holds where somebody has to help them push down the weight, so that would force them to come back to us because they didn't know how to do anything on their own. So things like those renewing programs every 6 weeks, you must change your program or must update this, must update that. That is the same kind of concept. They're making you come back or stay with them so that they're not teaching you to do it by yourself long term. So a lot of those, even the variations, they're like, oh, we've got this brand new exercise and this is a game changer. Most of the time it's not.
No, if it's an entry level program to get somebody, into the sport, that's fine, but I think it has to be positioned like that. I mean, generally, how many coaches out there do you see that one, they have this 12-week booty program, or they have, they obviously have their
challenge.
A 6-week challenge, and everybody gets the same program, and everybody gets this, and yes, you get app access, and look, all of the bloody ads look the same. They've all got the same Canva template. Some of these programs are really good. I'm not slamming on everybody, because there are some guys and girls out there who do it.
There are some people who need that. There are some people who need that, especially lifestyle clients. Sometimes they just need that short, sharp challenge to just get them building habits. So yes, sometimes it's needed. But again, for the broader prospect, it is also a sales tactic. Yeah. And when we're talking bikini bodybuilding, where it is a very saturated market and there's no official qualifications, anyone can be a prep coach. I could suddenly decide to be a prep coach. I mean, actually, I have more relevant qualifications than most prep coaches, to be honest. But literally, like anyone off the street could just decide, I'm going to be a prep coach now, and then just start selling it, and no one would really question it as long as they marketed it correctly.
No, I mean, there's some of these prep, not just prep coach, probably not so much prep coaches, because I think you can get found out pretty quick. When people start, but for the lifestyle one, where it's less about what you know and more about what you know about how to deliver it. And there are people out there who've got tens and tens of thousands of followers who are selling these programs for $99, and they're all in US dollars, by the way, which I do find mildly convenient. But they have no qualification other than they look damn good in a pair of booty shorts. Mm-hmm. Some of them, I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them I don't need everybody coming down here. Yeah, but this girl, she's got it. I'm like, yes, there are always exceptions to the rules. But for the most part, there are a lot of these programs, they're just money spinners. I mean, and this is an industry, bodybuilding I don't even know, bodybuilding is really say sport. I just get myself in trouble. It's definitely an industry, and it's a very lucrative industry. Otherwise,
usually what you'll see in prep coaching is someone will compete and they will do very well, and then they will call themselves a prep coach.
Yeah,
because they have they've done well themselves.
They'll compete, come top 3 in a regional, and then suddenly they've got prep. They're taking on prep clients or posing clients. It's like, you can't pose yourself. Why are you doing posing?
Hey, well, we will get to posing later. We're talking about the coaching side of things right now.
Yes.
But no, I think if you are looking for a coach, that is something very important to look into, is do they actually have any relevant qualifications or experience other than they have competed themselves and done well. And then another thing that you often see is a lot of big transformations with prep coach. And personally, I'm not a fan of it if it's like a very common theme of their athletes put on a lot of weight in off season and do these massive transformations every year, because it does happen. Obviously, you will get a few that it happens, but if it's all of their clients, for me, I'm kind of like, well, in most cases, you don't need to put on that much weight. So if all of your clients are doing it, why is that happening?
Yeah, that's obviously when they're using more from a transformation perspective than a stage perspective. Yeah, it's an industry. There are multiple different pricing points. There's, multiple different, I guess, qualities. It's like, the difference between, buying a pair of shoes from
Nike and Adidas.
Yeah, or buying Adidas. You do get what you pay for, and I think that's
Or
the key.
sometimes there is some coaches that charge an arm and a leg and they don't probably deserve it.
No, that's true. I mean, this is an industry. I mean, you'll see some of these big coaching groups where they have a very well-known head coach. You're never going to work with that person.
That's actually a very good point. And sometimes you don't know that. You don't know that you are not getting that person's programs, because sometimes they will have, I guess, shadow coaches. Like, they'll have a coach who writes most of the programs. Maybe they check over it. Maybe they don't. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And yeah, they will give you your program and you don't know any different because it's under their head coach's name.
Yeah.
And often that is in the contract. Read your contracts, guys. I've had a contract that's like 3 pages long, and it was in there that I could at any time be given another coach under that coach's umbrella, and that would just be that I would have to be okay with that, regardless of how long I'd paid for coaching from that particular coach.
And that's where I struggle with the industry of coaching, and that's why I've frequently said I keep my team relatively small, because people are paying for me. They're not necessarily paying to be, not that obviously if I was to recruit somebody to work alongside with me, and obviously I have my own standards and stuff like that, but the reality of it is I can't do what I want to do, which is coach people. I don't want to coach coaches. I want to coach athletes. But a lot of these ones that they're very, very well-known coaches, short of the ones that only have a very small team and they are very elite and they only work at that very top end, like the likes of Chris Aceto and that sort of carry on, where what you're getting. But you're paying for it. But some of these bigger, more well-known teams, they have teams and teams of coaches. I know one particular group has been to their offices and they had something like 12 trainers that wrote the programs. They had 3 nutritionists that wrote the nutrition programs. So the reality is their coach is a marketing figurehead, and they're very successful at marketing themselves. They're very successful at understanding how all this stuff works. It doesn't necessarily make them a good coach or a good coach for you, but it's an industry, so you just kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. So when it's just, I think, important to just have the transparency there. Like, sometimes you know what you're getting into, and that's fine. If you are willing to pay for that, and that's that's what you're paying for, absolutely fine. Because I mean, that's what I did. I knew what I was getting into. I paid for it, and I'm absolutely fine for that, because I knew what I was doing. But some people don't know, and then they get there, and they're halfway or a couple of weeks in. They've paid for maybe 3 months usually, and they're like, hang on a second, what's going on here? So I think it's very important to know that, like, again, this is an industry. People make money from this industry. So again, it's saturated. Anyone can be a prep coach. So there is a lot of them. So a lot of these prep coaches are trying to distinguish themselves from others by upselling. So if they're able to market themselves better, they're going to get more clients. More clients equals more money. And some of them take on more clients than they should, which I know Chris has got issues with. So, and it frequently happens. Like, again, one of my old coaches was like that. He frequently took on way too many athletes, and then if you were not at the top of the board, often you got left out. And that's just how it is with those coaches. And again, you need to do your research with what are you paying for versus what are you going to get. Reviews ask ex-athletes and current athletes, both. Don't just ask the current athletes, because they will just tell you that that coach is the best coach ever. Don't just ask the ex-athletes, because a lot of them will tell you that they are a terrible coach. So you need both opinions.
Yeah, you do. And when in that space, that sphere of coaching, both lifestyle and competitive coaching, generally a lot of coaches will have different tiers of coaching, and you need to understand that the further you step down from a pricing perspective in those tiers of coaching, you are going to be getting less. You're going to be getting less individual time. You're going to be getting less attention. You might be getting more resources, because there'll be a PDF for this, there'll be a video for that. And, there are platforms that are built around this type of coaching environment where, people are cost conscious, and yes, you will get a lot of resources available to you. You just won't get a lot of individual guidance that's suited around you. And again, if that's what you want, cool. But go in knowing what you're paying for. If you go in expecting to get, say, me, and instead of paying my normal coaching fee, you're paying $9.99 a week, well, I can guarantee you for $9.99 a week, you're not getting an hour of my time.
No, that's more like a subscription. Here's your basic generic plan type of situation. Because think about the time that goes into it. So even just like replying to messages, for example, for Chris, like it would take a lot of time. I'm pretty sure I take him more than an hour of Chris's time each week. Sorry.
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that I might get in trouble.
Hey, to be fair, some of it's not. Most of it is business related for me.
Yeah, that's true. Most of it's like, I went to the gym once this week. Oh, good for you, Rachel. Here's your new program. And then she comes back, I think this is personal. I'm just like,
I mean, the program was titled, like, what was it? Bulgarian squat drop set of death.
Yeah.
I feel that kind of feels personal.
Yeah, I did call it that. And I only laughed a little when I wrote it.
Just a little. Yeah. But yes, when you are getting some of these, like, coaching, like, current trends and things, a lot of time it's a marketing perspective. And it's the same with the posing, for example. So one thing that we are big on at our Essential Weight Posing Academy is that a lot of the extra stuff that you are sold in posing doesn't do anything. And it basically is marketing because it looks fancy and it might look, and because it looks difficult, it makes you think, oh, they're a better poser. But the judges are like, well, what are they doing? I'm not judging that.
Yeah. And a lot of judges will not say that because there's a relationship that exists. And I personally think that's wrong. But, then we talked about it previously. There are favorite coaches. There are favorite everything. And they tend to be recommended by, different people. They get, all of that sort of carry on. Not saying that the judges are receiving any form of compensation to it, but there is, they do play that. But I think a lot, Rach has heard me say it before, social media marketing is an industry created by social media marketers. And I think it's the same to a large extent, it can be the same with the posing industry because a lot of it is unnecessary overcomplication where you don't, especially if you're starting out, you don't need to be able to do 3/4 spins on your heels and then straight into your front pose and then, all this massive over the top flair because it's really unimportant. You're only going to be judged on how well you can do your mandatory poses and to a certain extent when they're doing comparisons, how well you transition into the next pose. But if you go to any show and you watch for an exercise, don't watch the athletes, watch the judges. And you'll see them when they're all of this frilly stuff, which, by the way, does look great, and it is a show. So it is still kind of important, right? But then
it's mostly for the audience and to draw people in. But if you can't master the basics, right? So that's something we frequently see is people who can't hit their mandatories properly, but they can do a 360 spin or they can do 3 hair flicks.
Or the shoulder roll.
Oh, the shoulder shimmy, yeah. So that's time spent doing something else that isn't necessarily going to help you. All of those moves, generally, unless you completely nail them correctly, they're usually not going to help you because, again, they're not really being judged. The only thing they can really do is hurt you because they could show something that you don't want to be showing. So it's very important to master those basics, especially as an amateur. And I think that's something that a lot of people get caught up in is that they'll look at the pros posing and they'll watch pro posing routines, which are longer by 50?
Mm-hmm. Oh, at least.
Minimum. Yeah. So sometimes up to 100%. So very, very much longer. And they will try to copy that. And you don't have time for that in an amateur routine. They want to just see your poses and then move on and then compare you. They don't actually want you to do a long, frilly routine.
No, they don't want you to do the whole. But the other thing is posing is if you take the mandatories out of it, right? The stuff that Rachel spends a lot of time on getting into the girls that we work with heads, the transitions and the extra stuff. Posing is supposed to show your strength. And if you don't focus on that first and you're more worried about having the right, I don't know, booty pop, sass, whatever, but if you're not blessed with a Natalia-esque shoulder to waist ratio of the gods, you spend too much time with your waist and your shoulders facing the judges because it looks cool in the transition. You're not doing what that particular part of the posing is about, which is you showing your physique in what is the best posing for you. And frequently, there are so many posing coaches out there that are charging very good money. And I have decided I should retire from prep coaching and bodybuilding coaching because posing coaches get a lot more money.
Not necessarily New Zealand, but overseas, definitely.
Not in New Zealand, but overseas. Yeah. Some of the girls who got overseas, I'm like, when I get the invoices from their posing coaches, I'm like, Jesus. this? But there's so much time spent on the routine, but the routine is not designed to show your strengths. The mandatory poses are what they are, and the judges want you to do them because then they can kind of compare an apple to an apple, right? When you're doing those transitions, it's not how many shoulder flicks or rolls you can put in or how many spinning on your heels and whatever. All of that stuff is your opportunity to show yourself in the absolute best angle. Like, that's what it's about. And posing coaches who spend so much time, more sessions, you need to do this all the time. Your wrist isn't in the right place. Your freaking God, you need to be, you need to lean forward more, and you need to do this roll, and you need to do that roll. It's time, but that time should be spent on showing your biggest strengths, not just who's got the best stage sass.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely think it's important to have some type of like movement to the face and the eyes, and that's something I do teach quite a bit of. And but that's actually all you really need, especially at the amateur level, is just the slight play around with the when do you smile, when do you not smile, and then moving the eyes. That is enough of the stage flair in most cases for amateur level, because you just do not have that much time on stage in your individual routines. And if you're then doing that in your comparisons, everyone else has hit their pose and you are still transitioning. So the judges are not looking at you. They're looking at the person in their pose. So that is something that's quite big, I think, because everyone's so caught up on doing these fancy transitions and making it look pretty. But what is the purpose of a transition? To get you from a pose to the next pose. That is the purpose, without showing any flaws.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's why frequently I always say, be the first one in and the last one out. Be the first one into the pose and be the last one out. So your posing practice really should be, how long can you hold that pose for without starting to shake and without starting to look like your soul has left your body and it's save me. But there's probably, and I think that's the thing about like the posing industry, which is massive.
Yeah. And they make a lot of money out of it. Like, because there's not really any overheads. There's very few overheads. Like, for example, bikinis, it costs me a fortune in fabrics, rhinestones, all the above. Posing, we have a booking system.
True.
And that's about it.
That's about it. Yep. It's very overcomplicated.
These posing coaches are making significantly more than what I'm doing for a very, very highly specialized skill that most people could never learn to do.
But that's why we invest in going to do these various different workshops around the country. So we bring that to you.
Oh yes, that is our overheads as well.
Yeah,
because we're paying.
And that's an expensive. We don't. I mean, people think you make a killing out of it, and we're like going, well, we would do it for free, but it costs us a freaking fortune. By the time we pay for the venue, by the time we pay for travel, we pay for accommodation, all that sort of carry on. But we do it because it's part of the whole thing. We want to bring those to you. Would we like to do them for free? Absolutely. But we don't, we'd have to sell a lot of t-shirts.
Yeah. I was very upset getting my posing payments in last month after paying all the travel fees. There was not a lot left over.
I did feel slightly guilty, I will admit. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that was rough. I think it was like less than 20% of what I'd earned through posing.
Yep, pretty much. I was actually say it was probably closer to 11.
Yeah, it was close to 10.
It was like, oh, I'm sorry.
But it is something that makes money, is having all that extra flex. Again, it looks fancy, it looks complicated, so it looks like you're doing more and that you're going to be, I guess, better at it. So people will often look at these fancy movements and all the complicated stuff and go, that's the best posing. But the judges aren't looking at that. Like, yes, it looks good to the audience, and yes, it looks good to anyone. Yeah, just to anyone watching it can feel fun. It's fun to do. But not being judged.
Yeah. And I think it's good to have that. It's kind of like...
You need a little bit. You need a little bit, but people put too much in. Like, having 1 to 2 hair flicks, that is good. That is fine. Yeah. When you have 5, which we have seen, that's a bit too much.
At which point I'm going, shoot me. But as I said, the routine, like when you're doing your stage walk, and depending on what the show is, what sequence that's going to be, whether they're going to do comparisons first or they're going to do the routines first. That's your opportunity to show your stronger side. But that's the showmanship side. That's when you come out there and you do the hair flicks, you do the shoulder rolls, you do the booty pops. You have as much sass as possible, and that's cool. But the reality is, all of that shoulder pops and booty pops and hair flicks in your transitions when you're doing the comparisons, that's just freaking annoying.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have space to do it, like, especially girls with longer arms. I have quite a few taller posing clients like myself, and we have long arms. So when you try to do those flips, you are going to hit someone in the face.
Yeah.
Again, I've said this a few times. I have been hit before by another competitor. So, yeah, you don't want to be hitting other people in the lineup. You need to actually, I mean, I've told quite a few of the girls, pose in a little box, and that's your space for your comparison. Because if you go outside that box, now you're in someone else's space. You need to stay in your own little zone, and you need to keep your arms within that zone as well, which is why it can be good to actually practice your mandatories and transitions in a very small space. Like, a lot of girls will apologize to me for posing in their kitchen. I'm like, no, this is actually good, because it means that you cannot physically put your arms out any further, because you will hit the fridge.
But and again, this comes down to it's a revenue stream, and you don't need to be Laura Lee in your first couple of regional shows. And in fact, you don't need to be at that sort of level with that kind of stage presentation and that kind of individuality until you're a pro. Because the reality is, you just don't have the time. So show your strengths, practice your mandatories, and your transitions for your mandatories shouldn't really be the same as your transitions for your routines, because get into the pose quick. And you have to, the thing is, if you're going to invest money or extra money in posing, and this is one of the things that we do, that should be to show yourself in the best strength. Like, one of the girls in the team is not blessed with the best thoracic mobility from accidents when she was younger. And, she's also not the, widest shoulder, narrowest waist. So there are ways that you can pose to hide that look, so you're not standing front on to the judges for as long as possible, which a lot of the wellness girls do. They can be quite front on in the wellness pose. So it's learning. That's what you should be investing in, is like learning what looks best on you, so that you can transition into that. Hide the weakness, because that's what posing's supposed to do, and show the strength, not try and copy an Olympian champion.
100%. Yeah, the copying the pros thing, that always gets me, because like there's no point to it when you're an amateur. Like, the amateur posing and the pro posing are actually quite different. Like, again, the length of time and the length of focus. So at a pro show, the judges don't have as many athletes to judge. Oh, sometimes. But usually, if you've got a pro show, it's like specifically for potentially one division, two divisions. They don't have the entire day of multiple classes all the time and changing focuses. So it is easier for them to have that longer routine, and also for the judges to hold that focus. Whereas in a regional show, the judges are jumping from category to category, and it's been a long day. Sometimes it's like, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 12 hours, and they don't get a lot of break. If you are taking too long with your transitions, a lot of the time they're going to lose interest very quickly, because they are tired at that point. They are human. Like, they want to focus, obviously, but, I mean, we've all been there. When you're tired, it gets very difficult. So if you're doing these really long, complicated transitions that are not purposeful, they're not probably going to pay as much attention as you would like. And one thing I've actually noticed, side note, a lot of these transitions come from people who go into FMG posing. A lot of coaches go from other federations, and then they'll do posing coaching, and then they'll move to FMG. Because obviously, I mean, again, I've actually looked into learning FMG style posing to just get that flair, because they have a great flair, great personality. But
great stage personality, yeah.
You do have to be careful with how that filters down into other federations, depending on what that federation looks for. Because some federations, like for example IFBB, they like a very simple style of posing these days. They have very much moved away from a lot of the flair, even at the pro level. The posing is very, very simple. If you actually watch the pros, most of it is very simple. All they're doing is just stopping at certain points. And then they might do a little left to right and then carry on. It's actually quite simple these days.
How many mic drop poses do you think we're going to see this year?
A lot. I've already seen, I think, 2. I've already seen a couple.
Here we go.
But I mean, again, at the amateur level, that shoulder swipe, a lot of the time, unless you actually have really good shoulders and you're trying to draw attention to that, what is the point in it?
Yeah. And I think as a athlete that's being coached, you're paying for a service. Again, remember, this is your money. You're paying for, this level of expertise. If something just doesn't sit right, like you're like, why am I doing this? I don't like that, or that doesn't feel like me. Then stand up and say something. It's like, you only have so much money to put into it. So your posing coach says, well, I think you need to do every week. You're like, I got 2 poses to learn. Why am I doing this every week? But if something doesn't feel right, remember, this is your routine. You're not trying to copy, well, hopefully you're not trying to copy everybody Olympian. You know, you need to do what feels right to you. So as an athlete or as a customer, you have the right to say, yeah, nah.
Yeah, which does happen. Like, some people are like, I don't like that. Or like, sometimes people just really struggle to get a certain move in their head and just does not flow in their brain. So do something that works. But yeah, that goes across the board. So it's even like same with like prep coaching. Same thing. If something doesn't feel right to you, you need to tell your coach and communicate it. Because again, you are the one paying for the service. So you need to, I guess, get the most out of that service. And remember, I guess what you're paying for, like what is the purpose of it? So both posing and prep even. Are you trying to get to the best of the judges' criteria and for the placing, just get to the closest of what the federation wants, for example? Or are you trying to just bedazzle everyone on stage and have a great social media outlet, which some people want, so that's fine.
Some people want.
It just depends on the purpose. So it's just have a think about what the purpose is. Do you want it to look really, really cool on social media and just have a lot of fun with it? Or are you trying to actually aim for the closest to the criteria that you can possibly get?
And I think that's sort of part of your exploration process about before you make a purchasing decision, right? It's like, for example, the way Rach and I work is completely different with each client. Like, I can't teach the stuff that Rachel does. It's just like, I would look like a drunken rhinoceros on heels. It'd be hilarious to watch videos of it, but I'm always going to be looking at posing. For me, it's efficiency, right? It's like, don't dick around, hit the pose. I'm the old grumpy judge that sit at the front and go, I don't give a shit, get into the pose, piss off.
That's why you work with the more muscular categories.
Yeah, that's why I work with and then even with like, because with APA, I do the figure and above, and also, I'd like to say I do the boys, but
they just don't want to pose.
I've said about that. I want to take a bet how many boys we get show up for Christchurch.
I'm gonna say 0, max 1.
Yeah, and if it is, it'll be one of our clients anyway. But it's like, you've got to find the posing coach that actually works for what you like, how you want to be posed. And as much as you're interviewing, say, prep coaches or like a head coach type role, it's the same with your posing coaches. And you got to find the right fit. You got to find somebody who actually understands what you're trying to do. Like, there's no point trying to teach a transformation client who's coming out and doing the transformation or maybe doing runway or something like that, and then trying to teach them how to do all the fancy transitions for a bikini or a fitness model type thing. Because it's like, a win is walking in heels.
Which honestly is very difficult. People underestimate that.
I've tried. It's not pretty.
Which is why for any figure girls that get posed by Chris, they can then come to me for walking, learning how to walk.
Which is what I do.
And the fun stuff.
Yeah, I go, I'm going to teach you the mandatory part, and this is get the pose. And for that fancy stuff, Rachel.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions about that, whether I do figure action. And I'm like, I don't got lats to spread.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, so, but again, it's like, don't forget that you're paying for the service. And again, it's a revenue stream. And just, get your value for your money.
Yeah, so we took a few different posing coaches last year to just like touch up a few of my posing things. Because again, posing coaches need coaches too. Like, everyone should have someone above them learning. Like, if any of my clients outgrow me, I've literally actually told one of my clients, I said, like, if you get to the point where I've taught you all I can teach, I'm going to kick you out and I'm going to tell you, go over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, because like, that's how it should be. If people take it personally, that's on them. But anyway, oops. Drink some water, Val. Drink some water.
She's not even here.
But where was I going with that? Oh, yes. I've had a couple of posing coaches, and like, again, you need to find the best fit for you, because a few of them, I thought they were great, but they didn't fit me. So I kept looking around. So even though, like, yeah, they could be the most expensive, they could be the best, but if they don't fit how you want to pose and also how you learn, because different posing coaches will have different cues, different ways of teaching, because it is teaching. And I think a lot of people underestimate that.
They do.
It is teaching. You need to be able to actually describe things differently and it's quite creative. Like, you have to figure out ways around problems when people can't do things. But yeah, if it doesn't work with how you learn, that's also not going to work. Even if it's the style of posing you want, if they do not teach the way that you learn, that also is going to be a struggle. So, yeah.
The best posers do not always make the best teachers.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I mean, especially if you are a natural, it's very hard to understand how people struggle with things. I get this with Ed all the time because he is just a natural athlete and he doesn't understand how I just can't be coordinated.
Yeah. What do you mean you can't run down here? It's like,
Yep. So, I mean, again, it's the upside to me having to learn that one from scratch because I am not a graceful person. But yeah, again, like it just comes down to what do you want from the service? Like overall with all the services, what do you want from it? And where are you prioritizing your money? Because obviously everyone has budgets. I mean, actually some people don't. I would love to be one of those people, but the majority of us are not. What are you prioritizing within your bodybuilding? What's the most important things to spend your money on? If you are starting to struggle a little bit, things are getting a little bit tight, do you really need those fish oil tablets every month? I don't know. It's like, there's certain things that it's easier to talk to your coach about it. Obviously, some people, they actually do really need it because that's individual. But figure out what the priority of spending money is and what are people making money out of? And are they trying to sell it to you or is it actually something that's helping you?
I think, so whether it's helping you, it's like the reality of it is posing is an important part of the presentation of the sport. And we will always say that and we'll support it. But the reality of it is there are a lot of people out there that they will invest a fortune in posing, forgetting that posing doesn't create great glutes, right? It doesn't create the shoulders. It doesn't create the conditioning. It's important to show your strengths, but it doesn't mean it should take priority over doing the hard work. Because if you don't do the work and you don't do the training and you don't do the dieting, having the best back pose is not going to help you if you're 10 kilos away from stage shape.
I mean, it will help you look better than what you would if you didn't have a good back pose.
You can take my silence as being my complete disagreement with what Rachel's saying.
Well, it's like, me, for example, when I pose badly, I don't have any shape at all. I'm a rectangle. No. But if I pose properly, boom, glutes.
Just true. I have time and time again said that.
It does help to pose properly, but yeah, as it doesn't create the additional shape. Like, yeah, there is definitely work.
It becomes more important the better condition you're in. Like the better shape you're in, the better poser you are, the better you can differentiate yourself. But if you don't do the work first, being the best poser in the world is not going to be enough to counteract not being in shape. But it's kind of nuanced, you know. It's like it's really important to have both. But again, it is a bodybuilding show, and you do need to be in shape, and then you need to be able to present it. And that probably, to be fair, most of the female athletes are very good at presenting. There's few, you know, the awkward ones who you can tell spend 99% of their time wearing trainers and 0.01% wearing heels. You know, it's kind of like, what?
And if you are one of those people, don't try to do all the additional flair, please, because often it does not come off well if you're not comfortable with it.
I have seen, you probably don't remember, Rach, but there was Monty Python's Ministry of Silly Walks. I have seen some shocking walks come on stage where it's literally like leg goes out and up, and you're like, whoa, Jesus.
Oh, the horse walk, the stallion walk? Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what the? But the thing is, it's nuanced, but it's like, you know, the female athletes are better at it. They're better at presentation. The male athletes, just time and time again, they have 8 poses, bodybuilders, plus quarter turns, and they just don't do it. I mean, it used to be you need to practice posing half an hour a day, and it was more from one, being able to hold the pose. 2, it was actually, if you like, it was a kind of, I'd rather do posing than cardio, to be fair. But guys don't do it these days.
It's really interesting though. Have you noticed that there is not a lot of options out there for the more muscular categories in terms of coaches for posing? Like figure coaches, women's bodybuilding, physique, all of those, even the men's, there's not actually a lot of people who are teaching it.
Do you know why?
Versus bikini, everyone's a posing coach.
Yeah, and you know why? Because there's not a lot of clients for it. So there are some very good ones.
It's easier to sell. It's easier to sell, I think, than, for example, like muscular posing, I think, isn't as marketable, like, to social media. Like, yes, great, we can look super impressive in our lat spread. But I think bikini style posing, where you've also, like, wellness and stuff, it also is very you can translate it to everyday poses in the gym quite easily. Or just, your typical selfie. So I think it's a lot more marketable to social media than what the muscular poses are. Also, like the guys just, they generally don't care that much.
That's nice. So how can you not do a front double bicep? No, your elbows do not go up by your eyebrows, you wombat. But, I feel like we're sort of going on about that a bit too much.
Anyway, but yes, no, at the end of the day, the message of today, the takeaway message is just think about where you're spending your money and if it is helping you achieve the criteria or if it is a fancy extra, basically.
And we've talked about services being the posing coaching and the prep coaching, but there is a lot of transactional aspects to this sport. So we sort of briefly covered over supplements and stuff like that. It's a massive industry, the sporting supplement, and there's always the latest and greatest fat burner, which, spoiler alert, guys.
I did used to get told to take carnitine. That was on that stack.
L-carnitine, as a fat mobilizer, is very, very effective. Unfortunately, the L-carnitine that you can buy over the counter at the most supplement stores has got a bioavailability of about 3%. So it's like...
not that effective.
The science says this will work. You go, yep, not when you swallow it.
Yeah, if you are not swallowing it.
Yeah, if you've got to want to go the other way. Yeah, but there's a lot of transactional stuff around the sport of bodybuilding. There's a lot of, obviously your fat burners, your pre-workouts, your intra-workouts, your BCAAs, your EAAs, what else is there? The vitamins, the fish oils, the hormonal balancing, the liver detox, the kidney things, the bloat control, the
diuretics, the natural diuretics, or unnatural.
Or unnatural. The thing is, there's not a huge amount of evidence to back a lot of that sort of stuff up. So, if your coach gives you this list of supplements that you should be taking, in Rachel's case, 7, or when I gave her a list of supplements, I think it had 2, protein powder and creatine, and then I said, I don't care if you don't use the protein powder. It's a transaction, and if somebody is saying, as we said earlier, here's a list of supplements, here is ABC supplement supplier who you should buy them from, and make sure you use my discount code because you'll save 20%. And blah, blah, blah. But if they don't turn around and say, by the way, I do actually receive a commission on that. And I would be okay with that. If some coach said to me, look, buy supplements from ABC, XYZ, and get a discount code. I have an affiliate code with them. I do receive a commission for it, but I also only recommend their products because I believe in them. I'm going to be more comfortable. But if they just say, buy it from here, or more importantly, I'm going to send it to you because I'm supplying it, then you're just like, again, they're just punching the ticket. Bing, bing, bing. So always ask why. Why am I taking this? What is it really going to do? Well, it's got ox bile in it, so it's going to help your metabolism. Why am I paying $99 for 30 serves?
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But yes. I mean, we spend a lot of money in this industry because, this industry is like a multi-million-dollar industry. That's why there's so many people in it, and there's so many people making money out of it because, people spend the money. So, just something that could potentially save you money for future or just in general get you the right service. Remember that some of these things, again, people make money out of them, which is fine. It's a business. But also it means that in some cases you don't have to spend said money.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the thing is like, always ask why. If
they cannot tell you why or cannot give you a specific reason, or their reason is a whole bunch of jargon that they refuse to explain, for me, that's a red flag.
And for me, it's also like, what sort of personal experience do they have to it? Like if I'm recommending a product to somebody, it's very difficult if I'm dealing with a female athlete. There are some supplements out there that do work quite well from a PMS perspective.
And you're like, can't relate.
From a bloating. I'm like going, I've taken this, but I don't know if it does the same thing for you. It's pretty hard for me to say, I know how you feel. It's like, and what I've found personally is taking this product is going to solve your problem. And you go, you don't have a uterus.
I was about to say, yes, my uterus. I noticed that.
Yeah. Oh, you picked that up, did you? Very, very sharp of you there. No, it's again, everything for a reason. And sometimes a lot of this stuff is just anecdotal. It's like, look, I've got clients that have used this and had really, really good results. I've also had clients that use it and have said they might as well have just been taking olive oil. It's like there's very few supplements out there that you physically notice the effect of in a short time frame. And even if you are it's normally stimulant based. You don't notice the effect of protein powder. You don't really notice the effect of creatine. So you might be a little bit of water retention or whatever like that. But pre-workouts, sure. And if you do suddenly feel like you could run through brick walls, it's probably because you just drank 400 milligrams of caffeine. So, and that's why these things are not FDA approved products, because it'll say, this statement is not approved by the FDA, or it'll say, this product may contribute to, and it's like, may do a lot of other things too, but it may not. So, but yeah, just again, do your research and always ask why. And if somebody can't give you a straight answer, maybe don't give that person your money.
But yeah, so I think that probably we should wrap things up for today. But yeah, it's just kind of a little bit of transparency to where people's money goes in the industry. And yes, we make money off it, but sometimes you don't always need it. So just, have a think about it. Like, if you have money to burn, go for it. If it makes you feel better, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, I love a good pre-workout or like BCAs even if it makes me, like, I feel in the mood for a workout, basically. It just gets me in the right headspace.
It's part of the process. It's like,
it's a ritual. Yeah. So for some people, you might have that kind of ritual. It's like a coffee in the morning. So it can be part of your ritual and it can help with getting you there. So for example, if you have a pre-workout, well, now I have to go to the gym because I've just drunk all this caffeine and now I feel itchy.
Yeah. Now I've got to do so. I have to do something.
So there is certain things. Some of it will help some people, some of it will not. So it's what works for you, what doesn't work for you. If you are having to budget and you have to be a little bit tighter, figure out what doesn't necessarily. If you don't notice the difference and you don't feel it, talk to your coach. If they say, yes, you must take XYZ supplement and no reason, then that's a little bit of a warning sign. But if they have a significant proper reason for you as an individual person, then that is fine. But usually it can sometimes help some people with this.
Yeah. All my athletes use this stack. And you're like, well, I hate to disappoint you, Sunshine. I'm not all of your athletes. I'm just me.
I'm different.
And for example, I'm different. I'm special. Because I'm so special. I can take pre-workout half an hour before going to bed and still fall asleep, which is really freaking annoying. But yeah, that's the side. But as I said, look, this industry, there's a lot of money goes around in it. And there are a lot of very, very good sources for you to spend your money on. But we've all got a finite amount of money. So you've got your service-based industry, like your coaching, your posing coaching, nutrition, etc. And then you've got your transactional stuff, which, we've just talked about supplements, but, it also applies to your gym attire and all that sort of carry on. There's a lot of... I still don't understand the price difference between a pair of Lululemon tights and a pair from Define, but, that's just me because I don't wear them because my wife won't let me wear them.
They're too expensive for me, so I don't wear them either.
Okay, excellent. That's probably a lot better reason why I don't wear them, but that's a different story. So anyway, yes. So as you say, do your research, put your money where you want to put it, and don't feel pressured to put money where you don't. And if you're going to put money in anything, put it into the sport itself. Do that by competing. Do that by attending the shows. Definitely, if you're not competing, one thing that really pisses me off, Rach.
What?
It's people that take an off season and don't go to any shows.
Yeah. I just don't understand how people stay motivated, or even just like, I don't know, how are you not invested in the sport at all? Like, how do you have no interest in watching a show?
Yeah, I like the way you go, what?
I'm just like, I love watching shows. Like, you smell the tan, and it's just like, I had no interest, like, at the last show, I had zero interest in being on stage, but just like, it's like, this is great. Like, I like being here.
It's how many athletes do you know that are not competing that year and never go to a show? And that's how the promoters make their money. So if you've got the choice between buying a rose hip oil or for the same price going to attend one of the federation's shows, guess where that money's going to be more beneficial? So give your money to the people that matter.
And then they can give you better shows when you do compete.
Exactly. So, or we're going to have all the nutrition companies see me. Don't tell people like that. They won't buy our products. And you're like, yeah, well.
Yeah. Creatine works. Buy the creatine.
Yeah, buy the creatine. We know that works. So, just do your research. Give your support. Go to the damn shows. There's lots of shows to choose from this year. And don't go there just because you've got somebody in there or whatever. Just if you're a fan of the sport, go and watch it. Because I tell you what, you can't judge and you can't criticize an athlete because of what you saw on a live stream, especially if not Rachel and I are recording it. Because
apparently we're not very good at it.
Which is okay. We're perfectly welcome to be degraded, taken away from that role. But go so you can actually see what you're going to be competing against in the next year, and give your support to all the federations as you can, because it's an expensive sport to do. These venues are not cheap. putting on the lighting and the sound and all that sort of stuff. These guys, they don't make a lot of money out of it, and every dollar counts. So if you've got a choice between where your dollar's going to go, buy a ticket.
Especially if you're in the area. If you're like in Auckland and you don't go to the Auckland shows, you have zero excuse, unless you actually have somewhere else to be that weekend. But in most cases, if you're just sitting at home and you have nothing else to do, why are you not there watching, supporting people?
Exactly. Make some noise. Have some fun. Yeah, just go.
Okay.
Or volunteer.
Side rant over. We need to end it. Stop there. We'll get in trouble for going too long, but hopefully everyone has enjoyed this episode. We've got a little bit of transparency. We've enjoyed our morning cardio that we've been potentially doing, or just our drive to work, our commute. So make sure to like, follow, and subscribe so that other people can find us and listen to how amazing we are, and enjoy the rest of your day.
I feel like I just have to go, enjoy.